a detective. That's your job. Everything else is just for laughs. I'd gotten word that there was some sort of shenanigans going on at the airport. Well, what was left of it. In the area there were several feral ghouls, scorches, and, well, other monstrosities I don't care to mention. Apparently I was running low on water and, well, when in Rome, after thoroughly contaminating myself, I set off in the direction of the airport. Or so I thought. I needed a way to set up some sort of beacon. I could hear something creeping around out there. I just didn't know what the hell it was. Being a cautious detective, I decided to go ahead and hole up in a truck while I went ahead and marked the location on my map. Slocum Joe's. It wasn't too far from here. And according to the map, vendors had set up shop. Hell, one had even set up shop in the old Vault 76. Well, that was neither here nor there. I needed to get on track. It started raining, and hopefully it wasn't a contaminating rain. I looked for the beacon on my map and headed in that general direction. Just my luck. Super mutants. They were level 5. I decided it wasn't in my best interest to go ahead and take pot shots at them. And apparently I was severely injured. I decided to make a run for it. A smart thing to do, being that I was outnumbered and hurt. Taking cover behind an old railway car, I made it to a mine. This probably wasn't within my best interest. I was hidden from sight, but only temporarily. I decided to head back to my camp. Not the smartest of ideas I had, but I decided to go ahead and make it happen anyway. Being badly hurt and injured, I decided that it was not within my best interest to leave a gap in the gate. And even though I didn't have the proper things to seal up the gate properly, I decided to go ahead and block it off like this. I got into my office, laid down, and took myself a good long nap. I only had a sleeping bag, the only thing I could make. I'd make myself a proper bed later. There was thundering outside. Comfortable sleeping weather, even for a detective with a lot on his mind. So what in blue blazes happened? What happened to the world while I slumbered away inside of my capsule? What happened outside of Vault 76? What happened at Vault 51? What happened at Vault 96? These were questions I needed answers to. But I knew I wasn't going to get them laying about on my ass. As soon as I was well rested, I'd be up, about, and out. There was something outside. Apparently the super mutants had followed me here. I opened up the shutters. The bastards had taken out my generator. One dead feral ghoul. This is the thing that had taken out my generator. I don't know how it got in. Probably because I didn't have locks on the door. So I repaired the structures. Closed up the door, leaving the feral ghoul inside. Switch to modify. One locked gate. Switch back over to modify again. That was just fantastic. Now I had a dead feral ghoul inside my house. Nothing to do. Well, I think I had enough metal on me, and possibly enough cotton material to build myself a decent bed. Closed up the shutters and the door. I went into rebuild mode, did some modifications. I scrapped it. So there, a better bed. Things were looking up. I looked around my encampment to make sure that I had it surrounded by fencing. It was adequate. Save for this one part. I thought to myself, it was going to be a little jangly looking, but turrets and traps, something else I knew I needed. I needed some gears. I didn't have those. I'd have to go into town, or possibly into the airport area where I had started to go. Closed up the door, leaving that stupid feral ghoul's body inside. I locked up and headed out. It was strange. That wasn't there before, and I'd never seen it before in my life. This was new, something I had never seen before, and I wondered when it got there. Daylight was coming. I turned off my light. There was no sense in wasting the battery. FallOut's camp. And so again on the road to the airport, and hopefully to some answers. You are a detective. That's your job. And everything else is just for laughs. But this wasn't funny. A feral mutt. Easily dispatched with a machete. Slocum Joe's wasn't too far away. I decided to go ahead and make a side stop. But before doing so, I also decided it'd be in my best interest to heal up. Took myself a drink. Got myself some lager. Chewed on some Instamash and headed up the road. There was another base that was nearby, but it wasn't mine, and I wasn't about to bother with it. There was Slocum Joe's. Just a little out of the way parlor place. I saw some fire caps, so decided to go ahead and pick them up. In its heyday, Slocum Joe served some of the best coffee and donuts around in these parts. Appalachia was famous for its hospitality and its quirky people. Though I had no idea what kind of time frame I'd stepped into, nor did I have any idea of what was going on currently. Apparently, old Slocum had fallen on hard times. His note read as follows: Slocum Woes, a post-apocalyptic culinary review by Glenn Ramos. I'll be honest with you, if one good thing came out of this godforsaken apocalypse, it's that I'll never have to drink a cup of Slocum Joe's coffee again. Having to look at a Slocum Joe's employee in the eyes, hand them my $28, which is quite expensive for a cup of coffee, and thank them for the stale aesthetic rubbish they'd just given to me was a fate worse than nuclear hellfire. 1 star. I took the note and looked up at the proud bugle boy, pioneer scout, ever upwards. The epitome of, well, America. It wasn't the America I'd left behind. I'd left behind something much different. Sealed headgear such as gas masks and hazmat suits prevent airborne disease from weather and hazards. There was nothing much at Slocum Joe's. Just a few worn out oil cans, some empty canisters, and boxes of forgotten lore. Decided to scrap all of my items while I was here. And also decided it would be within my best interest to see if I couldn't craft some. I still couldn't craft any ammunition, not enough gunpowder. And so daylight came, back out on the road, and head toward your destination, the airport, where a phantom awaits, and probably several other perils. You see an atomic-powered bus, or what was left of one. Decide it's within your best interest to go aboard and see what was what. A snub-nosed pistol. You find another canister of Radaway. You check your gear once more. A snub-nosed .44 pistol. Perfect. Combat with other players enabled. Not something I really wanted. So you increase your intelligence. Make sure that you know what the hell you're doing. As a detective, you want to make sure your mind is sharp. But charisma can go a long way too. You look up, see a billboard with a pretty girl, blonde, brash, lipstick gleaming, or what was gleaming. Nuka-Cola. Apparently a popular drink in the day. You jump a gap, and you make sure you're not being followed. This was the road where the super mutants were, and you needed to be careful. You've got a spare Radaway with you, so you decide to go ahead and use it while the using is good. Excel. Huh. You decided to see what that is. +2 specials for 2 minutes. Increases hunger and thirst. Drugs. A detective's worst nightmare. And not something you really want to go ahead and get into. You continue up the road.
Identify yourself. Law-abiding citizens will not be harmed.
Apparently the Projectrons had now gone haywire. A super mutant. I couldn't tell where the shots were coming from, so I made a break for it. Almost to the halfway point of my journey. West Virginia School District. Inside, I found a chem box and a number of plunger boards. My trusty pipe revolver now had enough ammo in it to go ahead and do some real damage. Morgantown train yard. Gorge junkyard. This was a workshop that you could claim, but I didn't feel like it. I took a look inside and decided to make sure that I could get everything that I could carry, which wasn't much. The dresser, foot lockers, and everything else was pretty much empty. A surveyor outfit. I checked around a little more. Not much else. Not much in the way of treasure, but I'll take it. A tasty cold beer, or in this case, lukewarm. gun fully loaded, back on the road. I looked for my marker on the map. I didn't want to stray too far from my standard quest. Firecracker berry, another unusual plant for the time. This was an abandoned and dried up creek bed. Wasn't about to chance it. It looked like my service revolver had taken its head clean off. Poor devil never had a chance. I reloaded my service revolver and began my quest once more for the marker I'd laid out, picking up more plants along the way. If there was an airport phantom, I was going to find him and put him to rest. Morgantown outskirts. It looked like this was the train station. Believe it or not, I didn't remember this place at all. Before I could even fire, the Scorch dropped dead right on the spot. She didn't have a damn thing on her. Looked like every Scorch died, almost automatically. Apparently, not every Scorch was dead.